LOGICALMGTOW. This one I didn't plan to do, but I thought I'd do it anyway because generally I think that many other things that I have not said on my first one of 2019, being this month of September the 6th. Of course, I made one earlier of today of September the 6th. And that is the fact that women also are not only indecisive, but also they are not only manipulative, and they try to be controlling because, of course, in the 1980s, they've always felt that men are controlling, and they still think that from time to time. And the one thing is also, and this is a logical MGTOW aspect, maybe not a full MGTOW thing, but it should be integrated into it. But the one thing is that women also want us men to be subservient to them, to where the woman wears the pants in the marriage, and where the woman wears has the say so more over the man, because they of course felt like the man had say so over them since the 1800s, 1700s, if there was any at that point, even in England, and even through the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and 60s, and 70s, and 80s. And of course, I know even through the 1990s, they felt the same way. Is that men think have a sense of the fact that they have a say so over us women. That's what I've heard more and more of, even as I grew. What the fact of where I'm at right now is that I'm single, strong, and logical and factual, and also I know the male-female psyche, as I've said many times in the many other my logical MGTOW videos. But also the one thing is that I can say with all honesty as well is that people like Alec Fleming need to realize you can't go into a grouping that supports the same gender and then use that philosophy that you were taught, as I mentioned in the video earlier today, before this one is that, and then you gradually pull out, even without notice, of the manosphere of, in this case, MGTOW, and then come up with your own basic base of philosophies or level of philosophies or even percentages of philosophies, and not even realize what you're really doing is trying to redirect men away from the manosphere that protects them and saves their lives and has saved many lives, to the points of the plantation, where women have been more than often to where they get to where your resources, your finances, and all the while they save up their own if they're working at all, or even if they're making money even on the side somehow or another, right? Even if they sell things online, they're still saving for them, and if at all, they're only spending very little, like I said earlier today on the first video before this one. And yet they still want us men to work ourselves to the bone to the points of our deathbed. And yet at the same time, as I've said in maybe more than one of my other past videos, is that women expect us men to reach in them and fix their unhappiness. No man can reach into a woman realistically and logically and fix their unhappiness. It's up to the woman. I've said that many times before as well. If the woman is not willing to, then they cannot blame us. And yet I know many times they try to always point the finger like, he's the reason I wasn't happy. He's the reason that this, or he's the reason of that. Yet, really, they don't want to admit it's them. It's the woman. With their indecisiveness, their inner psychological, emotional unhappiness that they've had, but probably built up to the points to where it makes it up with their emotions that they've had even at that point in time, while either in a relationship or marriage with the particular male or males in question, whoever they've dated or have gone in relationships with, yet they still want to blame the guy for their unhappiness, for the woman's unhappiness, when really it's not the male's fault. Yet the one thing is that now that there are many men that are more wise to this, and teenage men need to realize this too. The more you realize this, even the first time, or even after the second, or however many times you want to give yourself, you need to realize it's not your fault. Women have a way of making it seem like it is when it's not. But that doesn't mean you should slap them, hurt them, try to kill them, try to run them over, try to do whatever the hell else, right? Don't do that because they can get you even, and the law will back them up on that big time, even within the courts of vehicular manslaughter and various other things. Whatever other aspect of attempt that you try to do in some sense of ending the woman's lives. And I know everybody is also well aware of, if I can't have her, no one can. That's the old saying of men that don't never really want to lose the woman, but have either by their own stupidity or by the stupidity and illogical bullshit from the woman, mostly from the woman in many cases nowadays, especially. Even, um, the one other thing though too, um, and that is that women have a way of circumventing things. And when they do that, then they try to act like, oh, they can never do wrong. And yet they've done wrong many times over, even before they even met you or even got with you in any way. Or got some attraction to you. Or just decided to be with you, even if they put you in the friend zone and they felt that they seen that they couldn't find anybody, they might as well get you only for a certain length of time till they can actually find the one that they want to be with. Basically manipulate you and use you for all you have and all you got till they're able to get someone that they really want to be with, or so they would think and say to themselves. Now the one thing is though, not many men realize this. Not even you teenagers know this. But it's an actuality. You can say it's the way of nature. You could say it's the way of whatever. But the basic fact is that what women really don't get is that if they're not really ready to be settling down or being with a man or boy in a relationship, or a male teenager in a relationship, and to the points of seriousness, and to where they don't go in, where they don't jump, monkey branch to another person because they don't feel like they're being, you know, paid attention to, essentially, which would easily constitute to the woman being an attention whore. Um, when logically the man or teenager is making money by working, so he can do things with the woman, thereby thereby the woman wants him to be with her her entire existence and not to make money. And when that happens, they end up going to somebody that's making money, from time to time is spending time with a woman, but yet she finds out eventually that he has more time at work, and then the whole cycle starts over again. But in the sense that she goes back to she cheats on the other dude with you in the picture, and then you're involved. Then he has it to where she runs back to him and saying that you were doing something negative to her when really you weren't. It was all her, right? Then then he goes to the point of simping and believing blue pilling in the sense of believing her and beating the shit out of you, if at all. Thereby, both of you, if not just him, are in jail for it. That is the basic fact. That's the basic fact right there. And that's the basic reality of it, too. Women don't want you men to realize that, too. And they'll say anything and everything just to make it to where you believe them. And if you don't believe them, they act like little fucking children. And then they try to claim, "Oh, I believed you on this, or I believed you on that," when they really didn't. You've had other thoughts. You have other remembrance aspect of thinking back of the fact that you've had issues and fights between the whole thing, right? And due to the whole thing, right? The one thing is, women are not very truthful, and they're not. They don't. They want you to believe. They don't think that you would remember shit. But the one thing is that many men write down things in their journals, and yes, true men can have journals. A real man can have a journal, just like women have their little diaries. It doesn't make you less of a man to have a journal. It doesn't make you less of a man to write down your thoughts, because we all have thoughts. We're human beings. The basic fact is also this is another that part is also due to the fact that I know psychology. And I have a page on Facebook besides Logical MGTOW on Facebook. I have also a page known as Logical Psychiatry. And I am also an advocate, as many of you know already. The one other aspect is that women really don't think very highly of men on any level. They will try to act like they do. They will always try to word it even in front of them and saying, "Yeah, I feel I think highly of you and on this and this and this." But yet the one thing is, they want you to think highly of them, but in a higher percentage than they think of you in the highly aspect, in the highly percentage and level. Be that emotionally and psychologically. Thereby, they want you to be, they want you to have your thought of them higher than where they may have you, because it's not always towards like this. They want you to have you want the woman wants you men to think highly of them, and they could have their the thought of you being in the highly percentage and level as this or even non-existent. Be that, of course, if it's to the point of non-existent, they're lying through their fucking teeth and they won't admit it. They refuse to admit because they are afraid if they admit the damn truth, then people will not trust and believe them in the basic, shall we say, the boy who cried wolf scenario. In this case, it would be the bitch feminist Me Too movement attention whore who cried wolf. Use that as the acronym, which basically is a damn truth, though. when it comes to women. That's the reason why they won't admit it, is because once they cry wolf, and there's nothing around, right? Just like in the particular tale of the boy who cried wolf, and yet the wolf is not anywhere to be seen or found, for that matter, or however many times the boy has cried wolf. And goes to the point where people don't believe him, and suddenly, right when the wolf actually shows up, he cries it. Nobody believes him. Nobody comes to the aid of him, or even assistance to help him out, right? Or nothing, because they stop believing. That's one actual aspect that women are afraid of. Even to the people who they consider acquaintances, the ones that they work with, or the ones that they are associated themselves with, of any gender. The basic fact is that they are afraid of something that really hasn't happened. You can cry wolf one time, but the wolf actually has to be there. The more you cry wolf when the wolf is nowhere to be seen, then of course, yeah, eventually people go to the point of not believing you. But eventually, when the trust is built up again, then of course they'll come to you. But sometimes that can take time. Logically, logically, it will take time. In all realistic aspects and facts, it will. But the basic fact is, if they do already trust you in the first venue of it, right? And you cry wolf, and the person and the person's right there, then yeah, they'll come to your aid. Yeah, that's where the courts come into the base for women. When a woman is not happy, when a woman is not happy, and they want to blame the man, right? Then of course, in a sense, she's crying wolf. The guy is right there. The court system supports them, backs them up, right? And thereby the guy gets his finances, and his thing his 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 essential account is drained because of her, when that unhappiness is within her, right? The one thing is that we men are not afraid to, or at least most of our a real man would not be afraid to admit the truth. Yet I know many men that haven't admitted the truth. But yet there are more women than men that are afraid to admit the truth. So basically, if you want to be subservient, Alec, and yes, Alec, if you're watching this one as well, if you want to be subservient to the female gender and be way worse off than living in a car, as you have been, then basically you will be in worse straits than you have been, and it may go to the points to where you don't live in a car, Alec Fleming. The basic fact is also that that you, Alec Fleming, will not be very happy. So, Alec Fleming, I know I've mentioned on my earlier video of the 9th of September, the ninth month of September, which is of course September essentially, this sixth day within the month of September of 2019, that Alec has openly said that he's glad he's not MGTOW. But the one thing is that he will eventually simp to the woman, get taken for all he has, even more so, and then eat all his words that he said about MGTOW, even what he said of the dangers of MGTOW video that he made, and then he will essentially try to go back into MGTOW and apologize to his full extent and knowledge of how to do so. MGTOW will not allow it. And as I've said, Tom Likas allowed it one time to reintegrate the male back in after he pulled out and tried to dog Tom Likas. You can't dog Tom Likas. He'll bash your ass big time. You won't be able to. You won't be able to make a comeback. I've seen many men do that type of shit. And Tom Likas has made those men who try to bash Tom Likas make him look like complete idiots on air. Even more than idiots, really, in that sense. So, basically, MGTOW can do the same thing to Alec Fleming. It was his actions. It was Alec Fleming's actions coming out of being forced out of essentially of his house, of his place of living with his wife and his kids, or his now ex-wife, depending on the situation. He, like I said, he never went into too much into that. And he essentially started living in his car and listened and learned to the philosophies of MGTOW, the words and teachings of MGTOW, especially. He may not have listened to what Tom Likas has had to say, or even has said, essentially. Like myself and Mr. Hate Vicious have listened to Tom Likas more than once. And the basic fact is I'm figuring. This is what I'm figuring. Okay, you can disagree with me. It doesn't matter to me. That's cool with me too. But the one thing is that if Alec Fleming were to really not only just listen to make our philosophy of MGTOW and listen to Tom Likas, and on top of that, maybe there might have been a change. But I'm not gonna go to the points of like the possibilities of, well, maybe if this happened, maybe if that happened. That doesn't always solve a thing. But the one thing is that it's true. But so far, the dude Alec Fleming only listened to the philosophies of MGTOW, and then he reintegrated it into his own understanding of things, and he's switched the letters around of the acronym of MGTOW to his GT, whatever the hell it was. And thereby he's gradually simping himself, but also trying to get other men to simp back to the plantation. One person commented on a reply to my comment that I showed Mr. Vicious, that maybe he's like sort of a learning thing, right? And I'll show you. We'll see what he said. He said, let's see if I can find it here. See if I can find it right in here. Well, generally, the dude straight up said that he was going through a learning process of sorts. But the one thing is, and I'm not going to stress this, but I can say it to the full extent, and hopefully people listen. You future MGTOW members listen. The more you do things like what Alec Fleming did, the less people will have any faith and trust in you. The one thing is that what I'm saying is, okay, say for example, you're Alec Fleming. Okay. You have just been forced out by your then or possibly still wife, in the sense of where you're not able to see your children if you have any at all. And then you listen to the philosophies and words of MGTOW members via YouTube, the circle. And then you kind of have your own understanding of it, which is okay. And then you integrate it to your own philosophy. Then you gradually, even that without notice, if with any notice at all, you pull out a MGTOW. And then you make videos like, the dangers of MGTOW, like Alec Fleming made, right? Then you even say in a comment that you're glad that you're not MGTOW. Essentially, what you're doing is like helping the feminist movement, and yet we MGTOW men have dealt with women in our own way, in the way of what we know how to, because each man is different, right? The one thing is that no matter what we did, even tried to even shall we say go to the points of being reasonable, as long as a woman is reasonable, sort of like a communicative. Okay, if I do this, and then if I did this, then you do this, that sort of thing. Compromise thing essentially. But yet that doesn't always work with women. With women mostly, you can sit and talk all you want. You can sit on your ass till your ass turns blue or red or whatever. They're not. They may claim, try to show that they're listening, but they're not really listening. They're saying things within themselves, within their minds, uh, things that you don't even know. I mean, hell, you're not Deanna Troi from Star Trek: The Next Generation, able to read minds like what's known as a telepath. I know for us men it'd be a lot easier too, but for women the same thing too. It'd be easy for them to do as well, to understand us men as well. But logically and realistically, there's no way. So all women have in their arsenal is the claim that they're unhappy and then try to point the finger of blame at us men, when really it's not our fault. But at the same time, they gradually drained us of our finances, and they've cheated on us, and if they cheated on us while we're still in a relationship with them, and then they want us to, expect us to take them back, and yet say, for example, we do take them back, right? Then they start to shit over again, even a short rendition of it, right? But to where they cheat again. Then they expect you to deal with it. Yet when we men have cheated on women, they'll either slap us, right, and then walk away and never see us again. And at times, there are times women do come back. Not very often. And don't expect it to happen to you, because don't use that. Don't use that as a card, because there's no card such as that, even in the metaphorical aspect. But it can happen, and it has happened, but it does not always happen to everyone. There's also been a thing to where, like, for example, when I was in a relationship many years ago with a woman, she would. See, I'm going to mention two things, right? Two women. And this was again before I knew that there was time like this. Before before I knew that there was a MGTOW. This was like the 1990s. First one, woman by the name of Jill Yeaman, now known as Jill Dixon. She currently lives, I'd say, from what I last heard, although I'm not saying it's an actuality now, but she lived over, I think, in Truckee or somewhere. But when she lived with her father in Sunnyvale, she would go with me. She'd be with me at this point, and I'd be at her house even after work on all this other stuff because I was working for Target at the time, and then when I didn't feel well, instead of realizing that, um, then she walks up with another guy right in front of me, of all things. Then she expects me to come back. No, she came back to me. Then she does it again. I have about 2 days off in a row. Not on the same day that I paged her, because we had both had pagers at the time. and she claimed that she was busy when she really wasn't. And then eventually I went over to my friend's house, her friend's house as well. It was her friend as well. And I find that she was hanging over another dude. And then about a year and a half or so later, I'm over at my friend's place over in Sunnyvale. Not the same friend's place, the one, but like down the street from there, right? And I'm hanging out with my friends there out in the walkway porch area on the second floor. And the dude that she was hanging over comes up towards the direction where I was, and sees me, and he gave me a look like, oh shit, I bet I know what he wants to do to me now, type of thing. The one thing is though, I have fully forgotten it. Not to the point of blaming Jill Yeaman, aka now Jill Dixon. And this happened in the 1990s, no less. Okay, and and so like he's all like, dude, he's all, Dave, I'm sorry that he's all like, dude, I'm sorry that that what I did. No, she told me this, and she told me she was single, and I didn't know she was still going with you. I go, hey, no worries, I don't blame you. I didn't. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his thought or idealism of actually going into that aspect of, even if he knew that he would still go for her. He seemed to be the type of person that if she was honest with him, like most women claim to be when they're really not. They find, and then later on the guy finds out, well, the woman's still going with the other one, right? With another guy, And so basically, the only blame went towards her, not him. So I told him, hey, no worries. I know, I wasn't with her at that point when I saw him approach her like that. So but I know that she eventually went with Todd, my old friend Todd Nichols. Though I don't know where he's at, but nonetheless, um, they started playing bullshit games with me by throwing a lighter and expecting me to go right in the middle of traffic and getting it. And I'm like, fuck you, man. No way. I know that was really her idea, not really his. Again, the complexity of the female mind, I can figure out pretty well. Because, like I said, I've said in this make that videos of mine that I've made, I know the male and female psyche. So the basic like this is also is that one time, around the same year, she was going with my old friend Todd Nichols. She would give me a call. Lo and behold, I didn't know she still had my number at the time that I was currently at. Okay. She would give me a call when I'm hanging out with my high school friend Chris Thompson, right? And try to act like she can tell me what to do. I don't want you to be hanging around Todd anymore. I'm like, excuse me? I go, Jill, we're not going together, so you cannot tell me what to do ever again. No longer, essentially, right? And she's like, yes, I can. I'm like, no, you can't. Click, right? She calls up within about 2 to 3 seconds later. She's like, you don't hang up on me ever again. I go, oh, fuck you. Click. In that aspect, women think they have more power over you than you do of them. We're not really going towards a basis of power. We just want men want realistic, logical levels. As women claim that they want when it comes to relationships, but yet they want something even more than they want something beyond realistic and logic. They want something outside of realistic and logic aspects and levels. When it comes to being with a man, they want to wear the pants, as it were. They've heard the man wears the pants in a relationship, the old saying, since the 1920s, 30s, and 40s and 50s, and then even maybe beyond that, even before that. But they want to go to that aspect. It's been said also that women are still trying to find their place in society. They may claim that they have found their place inside society, but really they haven't. Therefore, also when it comes to the feminist and Me Too movement of today, that they think they have all the power and support they need and want and have ever needed. But yet, get this though, they've already had support. They've already had help and guidance and assistance since the 1970s. There was a movement known as the ERA. They considered that as a bill of sorts that was passed as the Equal Rights Amendment. But the one thing is that it wouldn't exist logically. It would not exist even in the base of political governmental aspects if there wasn't a feminist movement in the 1970s like there was, known as the ERA. Women don't realize that. Not even today's women realize that. Not even the women of the time realize that. Even the women after the 1970s realize that. The women that were born in the 1980s and 1990s don't realize. I'm going to tell you straight up. The feminist movement of the 1970s marched and protested from 1972 to 1978 for women independence, equality, rights and freedoms to vote and work and all this and whatnot else within the logistics of things, right? But not to the base of overpowering the male gender, right? For any way and any reason, whatnot, right? Basic fact is this: the ERA made it to where women were able to work in the work, go in the working world, make their own money, live on their own without having to live under the roof of their parents and depend upon their parents spending things on them and for them and giving them money. Being able to voice their opinions on what candidate and things and propositions and what have you, on what they feel would be for them that they would essentially want to go with essentially and believe in and what they fully understand as well. But the one thing is that feminist movement of today and the Me Too movement of today is going beyond that, to the point they're trying to overpower the male gender on every level, as if they want the matriarchal society to come back. And yes, I've mentioned the matriarchal society before. The matriarchal society was many hundreds of years ago, even from this point, seeing that as 2019. The matriarchal society was known to be a female dominated society. Yes, men were around still then too. But yet it was the society dominated by women mostly. It wasn't to say that women had more say so than men or nothing like that, but the basic fact is it was pretty much identical to this society, but it was seen as the female dominated society, so essentially things were done differently than the way men have orchestrated. And this was even before the 17, and this was even, I believe, either after or before 1776, when the Constitution of the United States was put in implementation into an actuality. So, yet something went awry, something went wrong while 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 the timeline of the matriarchal society, again, the female dominated society, was still in 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 the way the males doing the way the male dominated society is now, right? Even before the current feminist movement, and the way the males dominated society is and has been since the 1920s, 30s, and even before then. But the one thing is that women want it back. Yet, like I said, something went down, something went awry to where it went to non-absolution, unbalanced, to where they had to actually restructure it to what it is now, what it is since, um, since I'd say again since the 1920s and 30s and beyond, and even maybe a little start off before then, as it started in building, is the male dominated society. They had to restructure it to the male dominated society for any given reason. Who's to say? Nobody really knows. But I'm not gonna say you can look into it, boy. But you might be finding various different types of transcripts and all this other shit, right? Of what caused the unbalance or disassociation of the female dominated society, known as again the matriarchal society. So the basic fact is that now, ever since the male dominated society start was implemented, women have been trying to find their place in society. Yet they think the feminist movement of today and the Me Too movement of today is going to help them. It hasn't. All it's done is made it to where we men are tired of their lies and other crap that they've done, and also trying to get us men to be subservient to them on, at any cost, practically. Um, Even when it comes to spending money on them, even as they save money for themselves. Um, Along with the other aspect of illogical, sinful bullshit they've done to us and against us, whatnot else. Basically, the feminist movement has fallen apart and reassociated themselves and reclaimed themselves and believe various course of 3 months to about no less about 4 years so far, and they try to stay strong on each belief that they've reestablish the grouping with, but each one fails, and each one has failed, and each one is continuously failing. Yet women don't want to believe that, so they believe that they can still consider them not part of the not part of the grouping, but they're associated with it in a different way, just like Alec Fleming claims to be or might be claiming to be when it comes to MGTOW. But the basic fact is that the other part of it is, which would be essentially the men are not going to deal with it. The ones that have any brains and enough sense to the points to where they consider themselves better than they have with a woman. They want to consider themselves to be equally important to the woman, but the one thing is that women have gotten to the points to where they have dumbed men down, with the man being subservient to them like a damn simp, to and to the where they give the woman their wallet, credit card, whatever the hell else, right? And men are not going to do that shit no more. At least the men with brains, if there is any out there that want that are sick and tired of the female manipulation and emotional psychological manipulation, and if they don't want to be subservient to the woman, and if they can actually see that the woman has done shit to them that's they don't like and they don't agree with, but yet they've dealt with, because they find that there's no other avenue, when really there is. Join MGTOW. Join the MGTOW manosphere. But as I said though too in my first video of 9/2019, which I made about a few hours earlier, or at least an hour and a half or so earlier, is that Alec Fleming came into the MGTOW manosphere after listening to our philosophy, MGTOW philosophy, right, and our beliefs and whatnot, right, just like the Tom Likas thing. That myself and Mr. Hate Vicious have listened to. And and the one other thing though too is that he's considered himself to be a MGTOW. He's essentially over time orchestrated and integrated the MGTOW philosophy in his own understanding. Hey, that's okay, but he's done it in such a way that he's gradually, without even notice at times, and in some respect, actually, that he's pulled away, and he's even said he's glad he's not MGTOW. Thereby, he's essentially helping. He's simping to the back to the plantation. He may deny it, but he is. Then, and with his so-called new philosophy that he put together himself, he's essentially putting men back into the plantation ever so slightly. The ones that follow his philosophy and his topics. Yes, I've heard his philosophy and topics, but I don't. I'm not going by them because I know exactly what direction that's going, and I am not about that. He may say it's equal to MGTOW. You cannot equal that type of thing to MGTOW, even after the fact that you claim that you're glad that you're not MGTOW. So basically, and there was one person that claimed that he may be going on an educational curve of sorts. The one thing is that you men need to realize you cannot say you're going to be MGTOW and be strong and claim to be strong and then do exactly what Alec Fleming did. by rearranging the acronym of MGTOW to your own liking, like Alec Fleming did, and then put the acronym of MGTOW right next to it, and just to get attention, like an attention whore, like women do, like this one woman that MGTOW is still dealing with, that has made a MGTOW movement and philosophy for women that are single and divorced and with children, single mothers essentially. Um, we're not about that. Those who do that, we can easily put thumbs down on their video to the point to where they feel more than insecure. And unwanted and not believed in and all this other stuff too, via social media. They will. What happens psychologically is when that happens on social media, even with the millennials, is that they believe it in so much that they build it within themselves and with the people that they associate with outside of the social media. Then they start getting various reactions from those people, known as acquaintances and friends or whatever the hell else, and integrate it into the same thing they got from social media, which is negative, right? But the basic fact is that they don't they can't find their way away from it because of what they did in the beginning. Everything was okay, and then right when they started dissing that group that they were supposedly get associated with or felt that they were a part of, which they were maybe at one point, then they separate themselves and claim that they're glad they're not part of it anymore. Think about that. It's like the boy who cried wolf, like I mentioned earlier. Now, and I know many makeup besides Mr. A Vicious has made videos like, "Where are all the good men?" Women have put it even out there, not only on social media, but also out there in the dating, the playing field, even on dating sites. Now, I don't mean to make this long, but the basic fact is I'm giving you guys information that you should know when it comes to both when it comes to both sides. Mainly the illogical bullshit that women do and have done. Yes, I know. When it comes to women, they want the Cinderella story, or they want the Snow White story, or the Sleeping Beauty story, or the no, no, the not Hansel, the story of Beauty and the Beast per se. But the one thing is they don't go to the points of the beast, because when it comes to the points of the beast in the female's mindset is that they steer away from that and go to the Cinderella, the Snow White, and also the Sleeping Beauty thing, kind of fairy tale bullshit thing, and therefore they want the guy to send to them and be subservient to the woman, while and make sure that the woman is happy at all costs, even to the points of the more than emotional psychological exhaustion from the man, to the points where the man is practically not able to do shit. But the woman doesn't realize what they're doing, because they don't really see anything negative with that. They don't see anything wrong with that, do they? No. The basic fact is that there is things wrong with that. But until women realize what they have done and what they are doing that's not good, and not logical, not realistic, and all this. Feminist bitches and Me Too followers, Me Too movement followers. Mm-mm. As an advocate, I can help people. As a MGTOW member, I can help many men. As a logical psychiatry person, as I am, because I have a logical psychiatry page on my Facebook page, will be one of my Facebook pages, I can help people because I know it's psychology. I may have mentioned earlier. But the basic fact is, I know the complexities of the male-female psyche. I understand it a lot more than most people realize. So, before you future males join in the with us at within the MGTOW manosphere, you must realize: do not turn into Alec Fleming. Do not go to the point where you consider yourself a MGTOW and then suddenly gradually build up your philosophy by kind of associating it with the MGTOW philosophy, but in your own conceptualization of sorts, right? Don't do that, because once you pull out, you may not be able to come back in. We do save lives. MGTOW does save, and I have saved lives before. But the one thing is that Tom Likas allowed the male caller to come back one time, but after the second time, every time the same caller that called, and he tried to apologize, and Tom Likas said whatever, and then cut him off. We can do the same thing. We don't want to, but we can. So again, as it's been said that Alec he may need to re-educate himself, but he will be. You, Alec Fleming, you will be in more worse straits than you are simply by just living in your vehicle. If you're gonna mangina your way out into the plantation, and even after you said that you are glad that you're not MGTOW and try to get men to follow your philosophy and beliefs and whatnot, and understandings as well, and gradually have many men sent back to the plantation. And basically, that's exactly what you're doing. And you may deny it, Alec Fleming, but that's exactly what you're doing. You may think that you are unable to notice that, but hey, guess what? You forgot one person. I'm able to see right through people. They're pretty easy. And I know in a way Mr. Hate Vicious can do the same thing in his own way. You may claim that you're able to as well, Alec, but you're not. The basic fact is I gave you assistance and advice in the sense of your now or still possibly wife or ex-wife when it came to your children, because I'm a nice person. I care about people. Be that, of course, as you know, I'm an advocate as well, right? The one thing is this: once you do something, you need to make sure that you really want it. You can't just go to the point of like, okay, after you're done wrong by your woman, for example, and then you try it again, right? Then you're done wrong in the marriage aspect. If not deep, serious relationship aspects, and then you go right over to a male type of grouping or philosophy type, gathering. Then then you hear what they had to say, what their beliefs are, and whatnot else, right? And philosophies and such like that. Then you gradually pull out, building up your own philosophy and understandings, and try to get men to go in that by also putting your acronym alongside with the MGTOW acronym being first and MGTOW and then yours, or even if it's reversed, right? You can't be doing that. If you need to really take time to think about it, you can't just. It's like jumping into something that you're really not ready for, which many women as well as men do. You can't be doing that because you're not really doing anything beneficial for you. Women aren't doing really beneficial for them, but they don't see it. But eventually they somehow or another are succeed from it and secede from it in various different ways of even if the illogical sinful ways as well. And there's many of those too. The basic fact is, yeah, I mean, you can re-educate yourself, but the one thing is, you may not be able to get back into MGTOW now. You should have thought of that before you did it. Even after your wording saying that you're glad that you're not MGTOW. I'm gonna stay MGTOW for a good long time. The day that I not become MGTOW, that day I can guarantee will not come. It's the same thing when it comes to religion. I have said to many of my church members that I told many of my church members of the church I'm a part of that I will never reassociate with another religion. Because once I sat down in the seating area that I sat at, right, the first time I went into the church, I said to myself, I even said it out loud. I go, this is the place for me, spiritually and emotionally. And once I said that, I said it right, even on my first testimony. And I stood by that even to this day. From from the day that I started when I first sat down in '06. I'm not going to tell you exactly when, but in the year of '06, I've not strayed from it. I may not go to churches as much as many of my other my church members do, but I've stood by the belief system, just like I do stick by the philosophies and whatnot of MGTOW and Tom Likas. I'm not going to stray from it, and I know that women don't like that when men don't stray away from their strong beliefs and whatnot. Guess what? Women don't like it when men try to do the same thing to them. So women can't do that to us. And yet they may think that they can because they have the golden vagina, as Tom Likas has said about women. But women don't have the golden goose of the vagina. The one that costs more than the male's large wang or dick or cock, whatever the hell. Yeah, our genitalia is equally important to us. We take care of it as much as women do take care of their own, right? But the one thing is that we're men are a lot more logical than women are nowadays, especially. We men have been more logical since the 1980s and 70s, 60s, 50s, and even before then. And even through the 1990s, we've been logical. A lot more logical than women. Women are still indecisive. At times, they don't even, if not more than at times, they don't know if they're coming or going. They don't really know what they want. They may claim at one point or another that they do, but then they find out, then they go to the points of emotional, psychological depression or unhappiness, even if they're in a relationship or with a man or a marriage with a man, and then suddenly they go to points to see what they can do to make them happy. When it comes to alcoholism or or drug intoxication or whatever the hell else, right? And then they go to the points of cheating on the guy and claim it wasn't up to them when basically they allowed it. They didn't do anything to stop it, right? Even a drunk person can stop things from happening. Even a person that has smoked weed or whatnot can stop things from happening. You're not limp. The only time you'd be limp most of the time is if you were put under anesthesia of sorts, right? Or any given shot that goes to points of numbness, right? That's the only time. But there are drugs that feel that you're numb, but they only last for only so long. A lot shorter length of time most of the time, depending on the type of how much you take of it. Same thing with the basis of intoxication when it comes to alcohol. That's the truth too. So basically, women can stop things from happening, but they don't. Yet they expect the guy to take them back. The guy that they were with, but they cheated on, to take them back and to forgive them. Women don't forgive us when we have done them wrong. So basically, we're going to show them the same thing, but even a lot more heavier, much more heavier. Yet when women had been done wrong by guys, they slap us and leave. But we can easily go to the point somewhere. We I know there's bases where women have been beaten and all this sort of stuff, but a true man doesn't do that. But what a true man would do is just walk away and never see the existence of the woman ever again. But knowing the woman may still be alive, but we don't have any dealings with the woman that has done us wrong ever again. That's how I've been when it came to my past two relationships, or past three relationships, really. The three women I've done that I went with when in my younger years have done me wrong. So, and yes, I know I mentioned one of them being Jill Yeaman, being AKA now Jill Dixon, and then if after her it was Rose Benton, Alicia Benton, that lived in Pacifica, California. And then before those two was Tina Schneider, Christina Schneider, that is. She went to Beacon High School with me, in the same not in the same high school, in a sense, but she's done me, so I don't deal with that crap no more. I don't deal with a lot of shit that women try to get away with when it comes to men. So basically, and women think that they're not doing wrong by doing that negative crap that they've done to men. They expect us men to deal with it and accept it. They haven't really dealt with or accepted the things that we've done. They've fought against it. So basically, we can fight against them. And that's exactly what's been happening is the gender wars, as it were, and that's going to happen for a long time now, because obviously women are still in the mindset of they can do no wrong, that women can do no wrong, as if the woman or the female gender is not human. That's the only way one can do no wrong is if you're impotent, essentially not human. It's like a let's see, if you ever watched the um, Star Trek: The Next Generation, there was a character played by the actor John Delancey. It's also on YouTube. You can check it out. Um, where he plays a Q, the character known as Q from the Q Continuum. The dude, those type of he plays a species that can live beyond humanity, the base of how long each human lives. They can the species that John Delancey plays a character that can live way much longer and still stay young at the same time, longer than a lot longer than um, the human race. That's the way women see themselves, that they can do no wrong. And yet women still consider themselves to be human, but yet play that same card again, repeatedly. If you want to be treated like a human being, you got to treat us like a human being. On every level that there is and has been, you need to more than be compliant with that if you ever want to be in a long life type of relationship with a man without doing the man wrong. Without that, no woman has a prayer in the sense of being in a relationship, if at all, if they truly want that. Obviously, they don't. So basically, women want us to simp. Men, they want us to be manginas. They want us to be subservient to them. Not going to happen. Ever. This is, and I want every future and current MGTOW member to really take heed of what I've said on both videos. Of the one I made a few hours ago, of, uh, of September 6th, 2019, and this one. And if I ever get in communication with the ones I've mentioned, I'm not going to back down from what I said. I'm going to stand by what I said, especially when it came to them. This is Logical MGTOW. You know me as Logical MGTOW Spot. Live long and prosper.